Happy Tuesday. I am so glad that you're here. Today, I want to talk about the subject of the Sabbath. I have been reading in the Old Testament lately. We started in Genesis last June, and we've been going kind of slowly, me and my Bible study, so that we can really savor and learn and dig deeper into what God's trying to teach us. So we went through Genesis, we went through Exodus, we're in Leviticus right now, soon moving on to Deuteronomy. And the topic of the Ten Commandments came up. And the Ten Commandments, God gives us do not lie, do not steal, have no other gods before me, keep the Sabbath holy, honor your father and your mother. We, as people, tend to follow do not lie, do not steal, honor your mother and father. But yet, for some reason, a lot of times we ignore or we don't think that keeping the Sabbath holy is still relevant today. I love when God starts speaking to me personally. He does it so gently. He doesn't pound me over the head with anything, but he keeps bringing it up time and time over and over. Kind of like, Sherry, there's something that I really want to talk to you about. There's something that would benefit your life. If you're interested, let's have a conversation. Well, God's been doing that for me about the Sabbath. And I found a book. We were browsing through the bookstore, and it was called Take the Day Off. And I have told you on here that last summer I really experienced burnout, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. My creativity was gone. I had life altering, life changing physical issues going on. I was exhausted, and I didn't really realize that it was burnout, but I knew that something was up, and I knew that I needed to take care of myself. It was a real wake-up call for me, and God, in all of his grace, gave me that time to heal my body, to heal my mind, to just rest. And my creativity is back. Life is really good. But he really showed me during that time that rest is so important, that I can't keep ignoring and pushing through the tired and the exhaustion. I need to listen to my body. So when my body says you're done, then I need to be done. I need to step aside. I need to be okay with that and come back fresh tomorrow. My to-do list might not ever finish, might not ever get completed, but that's okay. As long as I'm doing it the way that God wants me to do it, and as long as I'm listening to my body, that's what's important. Well, once I figured all of that out, or once I started listening, I should say, then God really started to talk to me about the Sabbath. And the reason why he gives us the Sabbath, a day to rest, a day to reflect, to refresh, and to rest in him, is so that the other 6 days don't cause burnout. There's a phenomenon in Japan, actually, they even have their own name for it, where people literally die while they're working. Their heart gives out or other issues happen because they actually honestly work themselves to death. So the Sabbath is really a blessing for us. God gives it to us as a blessing for us. It's not a rule that he gives us to make our lives miserable or to make us not be able to experience whatever. He gives it to us as a blessing for us. And when I started to see it that way, like I said, there's a book that I bought. It's called Take the Day Off by Robert Morris. It's an excellent book. It really explains it well, and it explains it through talking about the Israelites, which, like I said, was really interesting to me because I'm actually studying that in the Bible right now anyway. So it just kind of gave me an extra layer and an extra depth. And for me, when God does that, when he shows me something that I'm already studying, or when he uses what I'm already studying in the Bible to show me another truth through a book or through something else, it just reinforces to me that this is something that God wants me to work on. So when I started thinking about the Sabbath that way, and when I started realizing and remembering what burnout felt like last summer, I'm like, why do I think that I'm different than everybody else? Why do I think that I'm the exception to the rule, that God wants to bless everybody else with the Sabbath, but it doesn't apply to me? One, that's arrogant and rude. And I apologize to God for that attitude. And two, why don't I want to take what God is giving as a blessing to me? So when I started thinking about the Sabbath that way, I started thinking, instead of I can't afford to take this time off, to this is a blessing that God's giving, and he will allow that blessing to happen. When I take the time off, when I do it his way, my life is going to be so much better. So that's what I want to encourage you with today. What is your viewpoint on the Sabbath? Is that something that you do? We have always made church a priority on Sunday. We always made it to where, well, actually, what we used to do when the kids were younger is we would go to church, we would go out to eat, and then we would usually go hiking in the summertime, spring, summer, fall. Wintertime, we'd stay at home and watch movies or TV or whatever it was that we enjoyed. But we would go hiking. That's something that our family loves. It was, exercise. It was a chance to, I just feel God's presence so much stronger when I'm out in nature. But then as our kids got older, we just we still went to church. We still made that a priority. But then we kind of put the other to the wayside, and we just started getting busy. I got a different job. I felt like I had to check emails. I had to be one step ahead so that Monday wasn't quite so hard. And that I didn't run out of time before my meetings on Monday. And I realized from reading this book and from God just speaking to me that that's the wrong approach to take. I'm then putting it in my own strength and depending upon myself to get my things done, instead of putting my trust in God and allowing Him to help me get things done. So when I thought about it that way, it made a real difference in my life. So comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on the Sabbath, how you feel about it, what you think that God is speaking to you about it. I would truly love to hear that. And I want to highlight another book of mine. This is Journey Back Home. And this one actually is a great one to highlight today about being busy and the Sabbath and things like that. So Jason Simone are who you're introduced to in Journey Back Home. Holly also shows up. You'll be able to see her too. But Simone is so busy. She has so many fires in the oven, and she just doesn't know how to get everything done. A fun fact about this book is they have two dogs, Ben and Jerry, and one of them is a Great Pyrenees and one is a Labradoodle. Well, I never had a Great Pyrenees when I wrote this book, so I didn't really know too much about them, but it must be that I didn't just fall in love with the characters in this book, but I fell in love with the dogs, because we ended up getting a dog who is part Great Pyrenees. Actually, the majority of her is Great Pyrenees. And she has a lot of those Great Pyrenees traits, which I absolutely adore. So I just find that really funny that fiction became reality with the second dog that we got. And while we don't have a Labradoodle, we do have an Aussie Doodle, and he is very fun also. So I would love it if you would check out Journey Back Home. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Kindle Unlimited. So check that out. You can feel free to go to my website, www.sherryswalwell.com. You will find out there more about the membership if you're interested in joining that. The Cheer Up podcast, where we have episodes that we download every Wednesday. And just a whole bunch of other things. If you're interested in looking at the different other books that I have out, there's sections there that you can look at as well. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you would subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And let me know what your thoughts are on the Sabbath, how you view it, if you think of it as a blessing or if you think of it as just another rule that you have to follow. Have a great rest of your day today, and I will talk to you next week.